गालिब ने सही कहा था, मोहब्बत में नहीं है फर्क जीने और मरने का।
आई थिंक मज़ा आना चाहिए आपको करते हुए भी एंड ऑडियंस को व्हेन दे वॉच। एंड आपने जो कमिटमेंट कर दिया एज एन एक्टर एंड एज अ कैरेक्टर पहले, नाउ यू हैव टू गो विद दैट।
That it is the director and the producers and the writer's job to enhance the experience for the audience. It's not like you're seeing 20 saal baad. You're seeing from that very day. It will pick up from the moment where season 1 ended.
So if we as actors, we can't forget a character, something that you've done, whether it's before, like it's been a gap of 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 9 years. It is a part of your life.
लेकिन जिस तरीके से लिखा गया था, जो स्क्रीन प्ले था, जो डायलॉग्स था, वो इतना इंटरेस्टिंग था। और जिस तरीके से मेरे किरदार को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था, देखिए वो बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट होता है कि आप एक नए किरदार को सीज़न 2 में लेके आओ और तुरंत आप उसको लोगों को दिल पे वो छा जाए। तो बहुत तरीके से उन्होंने प्लान किया गुरु के कैरेक्टर को, किस तरीके से वो हर सीन्स में ना रखते हुए, लेकिन वो इम्पैक्ट रहना चाहिए हर एपिसोड में।
No, I'm a mercenary. They hired me for this job. I come do the best I can. The rest of it, if it works or doesn't work, Siddharth and Gupta is not going to use it if it's not something that matters or makes an impression. I'm a badass mother. I make an impression every time I show up. No, I'm kidding.
और ये सारा प्लान हमने बनाया, लद्दाख, भोपाल, एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किलर।
ये काली काली आंखें, ये गोरे गोरे गाल, ये तीखी तीखी नजरें, ये हिरनी जैसी चाल।
Hi guys, thank you so much for speaking to Masala today. So my first question, actually, I'll dive right in. So the show is set in a fictional town called Omkara, which is an obvious hat tip to Omkara, to Vishal Bhardwaj's Omkara. Even the title of the series, isn't it?
I mean,
like
it's
that.
coincidental, but it's
Yeah.
not something that the directors ever mentioned. But now that you mention it, it's possible.
हम पूछना पड़ेगा, पता
मुझे लगा
करते
ये
हैं।
तो बिल्कुल इंटेंशनल था, नहीं था?
Hmm.
Because even the title of the series, Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein, of course it's a reference to the song from Bazigar, but that's also a very interesting take on the Othello line as well, right? So that plus Omkara, I thought it was absolutely clear that this was...
Individually, you're right about both of them to an extent, but one of the possible reasons also is one of the main locations was Omkareshwar, where we shot, which is a place. But it's not only one town, it's a mixture of, there was like Bhopal, Jabalpur, Patiala, Manali. So I think they've taken where Vikrant's home is Vikrant and Shikha's homes is Omkareshwar. And Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein, yes, to an extent, is those dark eyes when you translate it in English. So it is like an evil eye looking over you.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, Bazigar took it from Shakespeare, so it's the same connection.
Same connection.
Right. So exactly. And also,
No need to overanalyze.
I mean, Omkara, of course, Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein is not really about jealousy per se, but there are boundaries being pushed. And of course, a very dark theme, not a direct comparison, but I felt it was a very veiled reference to Vishal Bhardwaj's film. But yeah, irrespective of that, so again, one question I will always want to ask before a second season is, now for the writer and the director, the natural pressure would be to go higher scale, new cast, reinvent, give something new. From the actor's point of view, first of all, you might be approaching your role after a few years. You've left this role some time ago. You've done something else. You've come back. And do you feel that pressure at all to deliver something new, something more?
आई थिंक मज़ा आना चाहिए आपको करते हुए भी एंड ऑडियंस को व्हेन दे वॉच। एंड द फन इज कि आप कुछ अलग अलग करो। आई थिंक जो फिल्म की एक ब्यूटी होती है कि आप एक, आई थिंक एवरी प्लेइंग अ कैरेक्टर इज लाइक अ रिलेशनशिप। ओके, तो जब आप एक फिल्म करते हो तो वो स्टार्ट होती है ना, आपको वो क्लोजर भी मिल जाता है। व्हाट आई लव अबाउट सीरीज एंड सीक्वल्स इज कि यू कीप रीविजिटिंग, एंड आपने जो कमिटमेंट कर दिया एज एन एक्टर एंड एज अ कैरेक्टर पहले, नाउ यू हैव टू गो विद दैट। तो जैसे आई रिमेंबर कि एक दूसरे शो के लिए व्हेन आई सॉ एंड दैट, उसको तो 9 साल हो गए थे, तो जब मैंने उसका सीजन 1 देखा ना, लाइक ये मैंने ऑलरेडी कमिट कर दिया है, सो नाउ दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई हैव टू टेक विद मी। सो इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि यू कीप ऑन, आई डोंट थिंक पर्सनली तो प्रेशर नहीं होता है, क्योंकि एज एन एक्टर हमारा काम ही यही है टू perform, to feel it, to do justice to what the writer has written and the director ने जैसे imagine किया है. And वो I think if you're true to yourself and to your character, तो वो honesty दिखती है.
But ये कितना आसान है. I'm sorry, Tahir. Yes, please.
I think it's a very well put question because you mentioned that it is the director and the producers and the writer's job to enhance the experience for the audience. My way of reading it is that it is the actor's job not to do that and to stay true to the writing, especially in a series like this one, because it's not like you're seeing 20 saal baad. You're seeing from that very day. It will pick up from the moment where season 1 ended.
Yes.
And like Shweta was saying, you have to be authentic to what is written. And that is, you're living in that moment. So you can't all of a sudden be more excited than you were in that same day. You have to play true to that situation. So the challenge really, at least for me, was to try and curtail that tendency कि यार season 2 है तो कुछ और अच्छा बड़ा कुछ करेंगे. You have to be as close to what the situation demands.
Yeah, and to add to that,
You better add something. Yeah.
so if we as actors, we can't forget a character, something that you've done, whether it's before, like it's been a gap of 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 9 years. It is a part of your life, and it shall remain like that. So you don't forget that.
But how easy is it to slip back into that that headspace where you were?
You have already done that, right? So you just have to tap into those emotions again. So with time, like it just takes a day or maybe get back into that.
मजा आता है.
It's like meeting an old friend.
Yes.
Like you haven't spoken for
very
1 or 2 years, but थोड़े बातचीत में वो you catch up. Arunoday wants to say something.
And he's not convinced.
That was really well put. I couldn't have put it better myself.
And Gurmeet, from your point of view, now clearly you're entering the show after one successful season. So you've seen the show, you've seen how it has been received. So first of all, what did you think about the show, season 1, and what did you bring to the show? What were your thoughts about that?
सीज़न 1 हम सभी का सबने देखा है, हम सभी उसके फ़ैन रहे हैं, फैमिली फ़ैन रही है. और उस दौरान आई थी जब लॉकडाउन था, तो मतलब ये हर एक कैरेक्टर से प्यार करने लगते हो, नफ़रत करने लगते हो. रही बात सीज़न 2 की, जब मेरे पास ऑफ़र आया, जब मैंने जब स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ी सिद्धार्थ सर से, जब मैं मिला और जब मैं स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ने लगा, तो एक्चुअली कभी कभी होता है कि आप क्योंकि एपिसोड्स है तो काफ़ी मोटी स्क्रिप्ट हो जाती है, आप एक साथ नहीं पढ़ पाते हो. मुझे लगा था कि ठीक है देख लेंगे, पहला एपिसोड पढ़ लेते हैं. लेकिन जिस तरीके से लिखा गया था, जो स्क्रीन प्ले था, जो डायलॉग्स था, वो इतना इंटरेस्टिंग था. और जिस तरीके से मेरे किरदार को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था, देखिए वो बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट होता है कि आप एक नए किरदार को सीज़न 2 में लेके आओ और तुरंत आप उसको लोगों को दिल पे वो छा जाए. तो बहुत तरीके से उन्होंने प्लान किया गुरु के कैरेक्टर को, किस तरीके से वो हर सीन्स में ना रखते हुए, लेकिन वो इम्पैक्ट रहना चाहिए हर एपिसोड में. तो वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था. प्लस वो सीज़न यार आप कोई भी चाहेगा, कोई भी एक एक्टर, समझदार एक्टर यही होगा कि यार जो चीज़ चल पड़ी है उसमें आपको करना, और इतने अच्छे एक्टर्स यार, और नेटफ्लिक्स ऑफ कोर्स.
Absolutely. Arunoday, now
Don't you start laughing.
Everyone look at him and point.
Yeah, okay.
I hope you don't find this question excruciating, but
No, it's not. They're amused at my answer. That's why it's not.
Because we love him.
Okay.
so now when you play a character like the one you do or you did in season 1, now the character doesn't have an arc, so to say. It doesn't have a resolution. It just is. We almost, as an audience, we fill in the backstory for the character.
Sure.
So as an actor, when you're approaching that role where you perhaps theoretically have lesser scope or lesser room to leave an impression,
Sure.
how do you approach this versus a character which gives you a more conventional arc?
I'm a badass mother. I make an impression every time I show up. No, I'm kidding. I have the backstory.
Of course.
So it doesn't matter how much time I get or don't get. That's up to, I'm a mercenary. They hired me for this job. I come do the best I can. The rest of it, if it works or doesn't work, Siddharth Gupta is not going to use it if it's not something that matters or makes an impression. So I trust that. I don't worry about the rest of it. Also, I'm a badass mother.
There's one of my favorite scenes in season 1 was something that Arunoday and I shot in Ladakh, where you're on the drip.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
On that attic, and it's actually I think the first time our characters meet face to face, but when can't see each other.
It's our
And
only scene.
It's our only scene together. And actually, that was the first time where we're shooting, where I'm asking him what to do, and he says you need to put up a front in order to, like, make the family believe that you have nothing to do with this killing. And it was just beautiful because there was very little rehearsal. It was also the first time we were meeting on the sets. And yeah, it was great. Just everything, like the location, the fact that we were in Ladakh, the clandestine sort of espionage kind of shooting. It was
a great
amazing.
day.
Yeah, and it's a scene like that where I don't know his backstory at all. I don't know where he's come from. He doesn't know a lot about me except for the fact that I'm paying him
In cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That's all I care.
And so what you're really living is that he needs something from me, I need something from him, and we're playing that.
Now, Anchal, the zone your character is in, it is easy to kind of compare it to a lot of other seductress or someone who's trying to obtain something, but your character clearly crosses a certain line. It is not a very easy one to approach, I would imagine, because of course she gets she wants to get what she wants, yet she's obviously not the villain. It is a grey character, but yeah, it is not one which is usually written. So for season 1, what were your thoughts about the character itself, and how do you think, how has this progressed? What are your thoughts about that?
So Siddharth Sen Gupta, he had a very, he beautifully breaks it down for you. And if you break down a character, it's very easy to understand that person. So the first thing is that she's genuinely, madly, deeply in love with Vikrant, has always been in love. Okay. Second thing is that her relationship with her father is great. Her father supports her, and her father happens to be this politician, and he's very powerful. So and another layering is, as audience, that you do not know her past. You don't know how has she been brought up, or why is she like that. So you find this character even more mysterious. There's a lot of mystic to it.
Yeah.
So I think all these things combined make Pura very interesting. And one thing that I remember when I auditioned for this character, Sir said that, this in real life you come across as very simple and innocent. Keep that in Purva as well. So there are so many different things happening. So that's why I think this character is grey but loved, but yet, intimidating, and yet, you want to know more about her.
Of course. And of course, Tahir, so your character now, again, he is by no means a good guy. He's by no means the...
He's a good guy.
Vikrant is a good guy.
He's not only a good guy.
None of us.
Yeah, he's not only a good guy.
Yeah, he's not only a good guy, but
yeah, he's too much.
it's also, he's a victim of circumstances, right?
Yeah, I
So
would put it like that. A good guy who's a victim of
Too many
circumstances.
things. Yeah.
now, again, this is not something which, what is the famous quote, reality is stranger than fiction, right? So these might not be characters we think would happen in real life, but yeah, these things happen in various forms all the time. But again, this is not something that we have seen far too often in Hindi cinema, Bollywood, whatever label we want to give it. So how did you approach in season 1? How has your character progressed? What are your thoughts there?
We have seen it in Bollywood, but we've seen it from the male gaze, where a guy is obsessively in love with her. And I think what really attracted me to it is that it was inverse. It's like, what does a guy do when a girl who comes with a background of so much power just says that this is the one? And when it comes to good guy or bad guy, you're right. It's a blurred line because it's a good guy in bad circumstances, which force him to take decisions that he doesn't necessarily want to, but has to out of survival. And I think that's what makes him interesting. The very fact that you said that these are not things that we're used to seeing in life or on the news, but they do happen. Like, people love other people but have to be with someone else, or they see someone who they love, either go overseas or move to another village or get married to someone else, and it's heartbreaking. But what do you do when both people by the end of the season are now sort of forced to marry someone else? And it's interesting balancing that line between he's a guy who just wants to live his simple life, protect his family, but also has to fight against this power structure. And season 1 was all about survival. Season 2 is going to be about consequences, and which is why it's more pulp, more drama, more action, more heartbreak. November 22nd.
That's everything.
Oh, no,
I was gonna
Netflix.
say we can clip that, but yeah. So, like you mentioned, Tahir, one of the most interesting things about season 1 was the fact that clearly gender roles were reversed. But if we reference this to say previous Hindi films, even the trope of the rich girl, poor guy, and the guy is the one who's coveting this girl, that's always been there. But even though ostensibly the power lies with the rich girl and the rich father, it's still the guy who is calling the shots.
Yeah.
But here it's completely, like you said, it's a reversal of entirely. So can you just talk to us specifically about that a little more?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic observation, and I think Siddharth Sen Gupta absolutely intended it that way. What makes it interesting is that you're right, that the power is in her hands. The guy over here does act. You think his actions are going to be successful, but he fails every time. And it's those attempts of trying to succeed but failing, which to me made him endearing on paper, and to some of the audience also made him endearing. It's like he thinks he can shoot a gun, but he ends up shooting his father in the backside. He thinks he can cry, but he does it so badly that you're not sure whether it's comedy or whether it's real. And so it's, to me, it's like, you know, what if James Bond couldn't shoot a gun or couldn't ride a bike? It's flawed. It's like the flawed hero. And that's what makes it interesting, because I think I've enjoyed watching parts like a Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na, for example, is something that I just mentioned, where the protagonist wants to get the girl, but he can't. Or even a Rangila, where Amir Khan thinks he's cool, but you know, he comes wearing all yellow and actually ends up being comic. And I think those are moments that are relatable, that you want to see this character in a chaos and how he ends up unintentionally influencing other people. And just hats off to the writing team for coming up with it, because I know when we finally delivered the entire second season just a couple of weeks ago to Netflix, and for us it was like, you know, we finished shooting in April, but I remember meeting Siddharth Sen Gupta that evening, and he said, you know, that's 3 years of work for me. So, you know, I appreciate that every time I get on set, and I hope people do when they watch it.
We can't wait to watch it, and we can't wait to see how it pans out. So congratulations to all of you guys.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking to Masala.
Thank you.
Thank you.